And welcome back to Kingwoes Court. Episode 18 is on its way to you, my friends. And yeah, I'm still here. Can't kill a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know what you fucking call it. But anyway, I'm here with some special friends tonight. I'm really dying to talk to these boys for a long time. And finally, they bring something out that we can have a chat about, you know what I mean? But anyway, two good friends of mine. And that's Ives and Hytham from the Dystopian Project. How are we?
Hey Carl, how you doing?
Great.
How's it going? Very good today. Very good.
Yes. How are we all keeping? And have we all started visiting friends yet? Now that the 20k is okay?
I don't have any friends, so.
Oh, poor you.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, exactly.
You have acquaintances. People that tolerate you.
I know. It's been strange times, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Very strange times.
Absolutely. And before we go on, and like Hytham, you know, we're getting involved in this All Ireland project thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. We can't really talk about it too much, but I think it's going to be a really cool project to get off.
I think so. Yeah. I think a lot.
Go on.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I think a lot of people, you know, you see it in the news every day about, you know, businesses shutting down, or, you know, people don't have a livelihood and everything like that. It just seems that, and I think I can vouch for pretty much everybody here, that nobody speaks about what's happening to musicians or people in the music industry.
Yeah.
They're absolutely destroyed by this, but it doesn't warrant the front page news. It doesn't warrant, you know, it doesn't factor into what people see as the economy, you know.
Yeah.
So I think this is like a necessary thing to do. It's a good thing to do, to have, you know, musicians who are like really struggling, you know, to have something to do, to be honest.
Exactly, and to kind of give a bit of life into the music scene.
Yeah.
Not just only the metal scene, but the music scene in general.
Music scene, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting. Keep an eye on this space, and yes, myself and Hytham will be doing a project together, which will be very, very cool. And just look at this space. Anyway, that's enough of the little plug out of the way. Dystopian Project. Welcome. We, as I said, you guys have been playing music a long time, and not like just as long as me, actually, which is fucking ages, like, you know. But you weren't always in the Dystopian Project. Ives, tell me about your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, well, my first ever band was with Hytham. We've grown up together since we were kids, and so we played literally in a garage, in our friend Ferg's garage. I didn't have a microphone stand. I had 5 proper car tires and a big piece of wood jammed in, and then a mic taped to the piece of wood.
Brilliant.
That I played and sang through my bass amp at the same time, which was a no-make heap of shit. And that was our first band. Hytham would rock up in a school uniform and a Stratocaster copy with no paint on it, and Ferg played drums in this beat up
Sunburst, but
no, it wasn't Sunburst. It was like no paint scratched off, and then Ferg, the drummer, mate of ours, he had this hodgepodge piece of kit with the snare was a marching snare, big deep thing, and we were just, you know, we were kids,
having
man.
fun.
We're like, we're 14, 15, give it loads. Thought we were the greatest thing going, you know. And and then just loads of bands, little prog bands, and, you know, stint in rock bands, and, you know, a couple of years ago I was in a metal band, front of a metal band for a long time. And when that kind of came, ran its life for me, I moved on. I reached out to Hytham and said, "Listen, man, are you doing anything? Let's put together what we've always wanted to do." We stayed in touch. We played the same bill as each other for ages, and we just never, since we were kids, we never kind of got it together to do another project. So we went down to the local pub. Hytham drank a few beers. I was driving. I had loads of cups of tea. And then
That's true. I can actually vouch for that. That's true.
Yeah, I was buzzing off the wall with cups of tea, and the Dystopian Project was kind of born in that little kind of meeting. Within a week, we had a band, like a full band. Like Darren, our drummer Darren, he was in the last band with me. He was like, "Listen, I'm interested. Let's go," and that was it. He hit the bricks. He was free. He was like, "Yeah, okay, count me in." Phil fell soon, came in right in after that, and a few others who've since moved on. And it's that was it. It was the fastest band I've ever been a part of putting together. Like, you know, it just kind of came about. Yeah, it was just kind of came out. And the two of us were like, listen, both of us front men, both of us fronted our own bands. We're like, you know, do we want to do that again, or do we want to have someone else do it? We can kind of step back a bit and, you know, be around. So we're like, yeah, maybe we throw a female vocal in there, and so that the front man duties doesn't rest on either one of us. We can both back up and do parts and interchange and concentrate on the singing and the harmonies, while having someone who's much younger than us standing in the front. We don't have, you know, so these L lads in the middle, a combination age of 80, you know, like playing away. So that was, and people was like, yep, that sounds like a plan. And away we went. Like,
lovely. And Hytham, tell us a bit about your background after the garage band, of course. After the garage band,
I'd just like to point out that band was called Tantalus, after the torment of Tantalus, the figure from Greek mythology.
Oh,
and what did people call us, Ivan?
Talentless. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But after that, I was in a band for a good few years with a good friend of mine on drums. Called ourselves actually Wrench, and then it became Breathe. And that kind of morphed eventually into Eyes Closed, you know, and that's where I kind of met you, Carl. You were playing with Atomic Drop.
That's right, yeah.
And we did lots of things, you know. We released loads of EPs and finally got to release our album back in 2009. We actually went over to Sweden with Jens Bogren. He produced it, mixed it, mastered it. That was like great, you know. If anything, I have that, you know. And that was fantastic.
It was a brilliant album, I remember.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. It was really fun to make and really difficult to kind of put into words how good it actually was, the experience, you know. And then I was also in a band called Luther. We did a tour back in 2007 in Europe, and back actually 10 years ago to this day, I would have played a gig in Las Vegas there.
Wow.
So we were over there for a good while. And again, I got back from America after about 10 months on tour. Mm-hmm. And then again, as you know, Ivan called me up, and the rest is history.
You know? Awesome. And see, were Luther really, like, were they big, like yours?
They were fairly, like, I mean, you know, in Europe they were big, in Germany they were fairly big. Now, I wasn't part of the initial album, but they'd done many tours, you know, over in Germany, in Europe, before I came on board, you know.
Same old story. They have to leave the country to do something.
Yeah, sadly,
always the way.
Yeah.
But sure, look, we're here now with the Dystopian Project, which is awesome. And I think that we've only played one gig together, and it was an unfortunate one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we had it all set to go, and then, you know, poor Darren had a very bad accident, and that was it. You know, crutches, couldn't play, and for drummer, couldn't hold a stick. Like, completely, what's it, prolapse discs? It was just nightmare.
Two discs.
Guy was out for the count. So we salvaged it. It's like, you guys, you know, stood up. We're like, can you take over the headline? And we're like, yeah, fantastic. Then Creep said, yeah, we'll play an extra set. And then we switched to we opened the night acoustically.
Yeah.
And, it was weird. It was weird.
Strange, yeah.
It was weird. The place was just packed, and it was so we had to sit back and rethink the songs. Like, what do we do? How do we, like, you got, like, we're a prog rock band, so, like, you've got these 9-minute songs, you're going with, like, these massive solo sections, and, like,
how do you know?
How do you really write down to like that, you know? And that kind of bore I see the idea for this EP, I suppose. This EP was this is like a whole year delayed,
Okay.
with the travel band, you know, because we do all of our stuff in our own studio and we have our own, you know, all of our own gear, and we do all the recording ourselves and we send it away to be mixed and mastered. Travel band gone, can't get to your stuff, can't get down to the room, can't do nothing. So we're like, it's all sitting there. So eventually we were able to get a hold of it, and Hytham did a mastering of the last of the 2 kind of acoustic-y songs that are on it. But the whole idea was kind of like, do we want to wait another while to write another load of tracks and put them out, or do we get out a couple of songs that we already have versions of that we've performed, but we need to record, and we did videos for them, but we're like, let's actually make them the same volumes and all that kind of stuff to go with it.
Yeah.
And we said, like, it'd be kind of cool to do an acoustic version of 2 of the, you know, big kind of songs that we have, you know. So one of the tracks on the album is another song we have called Dystopian, which is our album EP, which is our first release. And that's a big 9-minute or 10-minute, like, really extremely heavy, fast, bombastic tune, and we thought it'd be kind of cool to do a nice 3-minute really acoustic version of it, pull back what we think makes it interesting, where the harmonies and the interplay between the male and female voice, and stick it into a shorter one. And then the other kind of acoustic-y song on it is a 3-4 minute version of a 20-minute track that we have on our second EP. Jesus. And that's a 3-song cycle, and this is an acoustic version of part 3, which because we messed around with it, we're like, what lends itself to the acoustic part? So the first part, a lot of acoustics, we're like, well, that's not much of a challenge. But the third part is like 9 minutes long and really heavy and huge kind of solos and all that kind of stuff. And that we thought would be more interesting to kind of condense into a kind of an acoustic-y version.
That's it's a cool concept. I know you have told me about this before, Ives, but you know, I've a head like a sieve sometimes. But it's cool to hear the story of how you've kind of adapted those songs to acoustic. You know, I've always wanted to try that. Now it's probably with my own stuff, you know, but I always say to the lads, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it, and they never do. You know? It's
weird. It kind of makes you, and like Hytham will agree with this, I think, it kind of makes you look at them differently. It makes you look at what you think the hook is and what you think makes the song interesting. Is it the crazy solo? Is it the mental fast drums or double kick, or, you know, or is it the interplay with the voices? Is it the lyrics? Is it the initial melody that kind of pushes through?
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like Metallica did a thing there just through lockdown last year. It was for charity, and it was a live acoustic gig. It's the closest thing to being to a gig. Like, you buy your ticket, it all goes to charity. It's like $15 or whatever. And it was on at night. It was on 2 in the afternoon LA time, but nighttime here in Dublin on a Saturday night. So glasses of wine, sat and watched it, and it was brilliant. And they did acoustic versions of songs that you just wouldn't expect.
Brilliant.
And that kind of stuff was really cool, you know.
I like that. Yeah, like, just in terms of, as I said, like me, you would never expect 2000 Woe to do acoustic versions of their songs, because let's be honest, the feckin' strings would be hanging off the acoustic at this stage. But it's something I've always wanted to try. Yeah. And I think it's great. The 4 tracks are fantastic, I have to say. You know, they're really, and of course, being me, my favorite part of the band is the vocals. It's savage. The 3 is like, is it Steph on the EP? Is it?
Yeah, it's Steph on this EP. Yeah.
Her voice works really well with the 2 years, I have to say. It's
fantastic voice.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because myself and Hytham were both from the James Hetfield School of Singing.
Yeah.
And and when we're recording, sometimes we'll overlap, and you'll sit there and go, which is Ivan and which is Hytham.
Yeah.
So we have it called Hytham now, which is just this perfect harmony between the 2 of us. Is the Hytham vocal that just kind of sits in there. But Hytham does his best Rod Halford impression on the first track, actually, if you can hear it in the chorus.
Yeah.
Give that's the one for the Streps as lozenges, that one is.
I don't know how you did that, man.
Painfully.
I'd say so, yeah.
I just want to say there as well that, like, I mean, I don't think that in any other band that I've been in that I would have been able to do acoustic versions. I think it's something that lends itself to the way that we actually write the music, the way we do it. We focus, you know, on the actual chord. So what is the chord of the song? And for the most part, it's the main melody and of course the interplay of the vocals together.
Yeah.
So once you have that, we find that we could probably adapt anything to acoustic, you know? Well, not anything, but
You could give it a go. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even through that kind of examination of the tracks for, and this kind of gave in Darren, our drummer Darren, gave a new spin to one of the songs that it's one of our live staples. It's one of the ones that everyone seems to like. It was our first kind of single, and we were doing it acoustically, and Darren with his crutch was like, why don't you try and do it like this? And we cut out a whole front of it where it's just one guitar and one voice, and then we kind of come in, and we're like, that's a really interesting kind of way. And we're toying with doing that performance of that song that way live, and it comes in, and just because it's what you've the single and the video, and you've one version of it, so we can still do another version of it live, and it can just be a little bit different, just to chat, make it interesting for you,
exactly,
for us. And so we're like, it was just that kind of stuff, those kind of examinations of arrangements. How do you put one thing against another? I do love doing that. It's kind of my favorite part of, especially with this band. Like, this band is no shortage of ideas. It's actually quite difficult. You're in the room and it's just idea, and you're like, gee, let's try and line them up and get through them.
I think I'd say we've probably got about 12 songs almost ready to go that we haven't even touched yet.
Yeah, like and we're going back, revisiting some and checking out others. It's like Hytham and Phil are just like riff ideas. They just, like, Phil's the guitarist, Phil Dolan, and they're just riff ideas that come out, and because they're so very different styles, like Hytham's one style, Phil's another style, it's great. So they don't overlap. There's not like it's really, it makes a lot of cool interplay between the two guys,
Yeah, what was I going to say to Hytham? As in terms of your guitar partner, you have a different style to each other, but you seem to work really well together.
It does absolutely work well together. Yeah, it's like I would more so be the rhythm, the low kind of rhythm, and Phil always does the higher parts, and the melodies, and it really works. Whereas, in pretty much every band, and a lot of metal bands as well, you generally have the two guitar players playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Until you get to a solo, and you've got this solo part that stands out. But I think what's great about film itself is that we blend it together in such a way that we both play different parts, but they just sync.
Yeah. So it's a nice chord between the two of them. And Phil's extra finger comes in really handy for the solo.
Lucky him, huh? I tell you, it's great when you have that kind of, what would you say, that kind of relationship with your bandmates, that you can connect so well, with a song or a sound, and to be able to be that confident as well to dissect, well, not even dissect it, but to, mess around and, bring out something different out of it. That's brilliant.
It's fun. It's not without its challenges. You've got four very big personalities in a room who have very strong ideas of what way things should be, and always at it. I want to do this way. This should be like this way. So it's hearing out everyone's ideas, but the way I look at that when I see things, and they can get heated. We're all people. I see that as just passion for, you want it to be the best thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's pushing for their part. Nobody's going, I want my bit to do this. Well, I don't want your bit to do it. It's pushing for the song. I want the song to go this direction. I think it's better served by doing this. It's not about, I want my solo longer, I want my vocal higher, I want my drums louder. It doesn't work that way, which is refreshing. I have to say, I find that refreshing when the arguments are only about the creation of the track, not about the selling of your part, which I do, which is good, which is easy, I suppose. I think we're all kind of long in the tooth now at this stage. There's no proving needed to be done at this stage. Yeah,
you have definitely proved yourselves, in fairness, along the way. So, yes, and as you said, just are long in the tooth, fuckers, It's like,
we said in an interview a while ago, someone said, how old are you guys? There was a few of us, and we're like, I said, well, put it this way, some of us are pushing 40 and others are pulling it.
Yes.
I think at this stage we're all pulling.
All pulling it, yeah. No, we're all pulling it now.
Tell me this, do you have a vocalist at the moment? A main vocalist?
We had a chat about it, and we were like, what are we going to do? Because family gets in the way of so many things for people and other commitments, which is absolutely fine. So we were thinking about with the name the Dystopian Project, because unfortunately for our last show, Steph just couldn't make it. She just wasn't able to do it. We're like, what are we going to do? So we actually invited to share the vocals amongst two different singers, and it played great. We're like, that was actually really good. And we were thinking about it, well, let's kind of do it that way. So we'll invite female vocals in for certain songs. And myself and Hytham will take over the main vocal duties for the next kind of tracks going forward. But obviously, playing the older tracks and stuff, we'll invite people along to do them. Like, doors are always open, Steph will come back and do more. And it's just, we're going to kind of keep it that way, where we're not putting pressures, or we're not, you know, making people say, listen, it's all or nothing. You're joining or you're not. We're the four kind of creative elements, and we'll continue with that. And we go, hey, you'll be great for this. Would you be interested? Brilliant. You come in, lay it down, and we'll worry about that playing it live later.
Yeah. Really leading into the name, as you say, of the band, which is great.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. When the name came out, a big argument against the name by somebody was, we're not a project. We're not a bunch of people that are transient in and out. And it's kind of funny that it's kind of turning that way.
No,
I kind of like it, because it makes, when we're writing a track, because usually when we were writing a song, like Hytham would put most of the melodies, I'd come up with the lyrics when we're coming that way. And you'd sit there going, I'm writing for a woman to sing this sometimes. And Hytham would be like, a pitch in a certain level, and you'll come in here, Ivan, and I'll come in here, or whatever. And now we don't have to do that. Now we'll just write it and go, your voice here, maybe your voice here, and a voice in here. And that's who will we get to do this one, where we know X, Y, and Z. We'll ask, hey, listen, we wrote this track. We think you're perfect for it. Are you interested? And the way things are going now, I mean, who knows when we're going to be playing regularly again. It's the perfect medium to do it. Once we're back in, you know, get the songs ready to go. I mean, during the brief break in our lockdown there last year, we were able to hash out a couple of tracks.
Brilliant.
So we've got skeleton ideas for some. We've got 4 kind of ready now that we just need to record, essentially, really.
Need to get that recorded, and we'll have it out there.
We'll have another one out.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, like it's. I mean, what we're kind of planning on doing is, maybe for the next few songs, is, you know, Ivan and myself may take on the lead vocal mantle for a particular song, or not. It just depends. When we get down to recording it and we hear how it sounds, we may go, actually, you know what? No, we actually need a female vocal.
Yeah. But you're not restricted to just a female vocal as such.
Exactly, yeah. And it could be just this one part, you go, you know, that one section there, I think we need a female vocal.
Yeah.
And then we can hopefully get somebody to come in and sing it.
Yeah, and we're lucky enough that we have a bunch of people who we know that we can go, you're perfect for this part. Yeah. And we've already spoken to lots of them. They're like, yeah, count me in.
Deadly. So, yeah, so the core element of the band is there anyway, at least. And then, as you say, you can get the friends in to help, which is always great.
But the creative element is there. You know, you've got the riff writers, you've got the bouncer, and you've got the ringleader. And so in the room, they're the roles we all kind of fit into, which is great, you know.
And the executioner, of course.
Yeah, God, remember him?
Jesus, they were good. They were good photographs back in the day.
Jesus, people used to meet me and go, you look so different. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not covered in blood and killing someone. So yeah, I look different.
Deadly. Yeah, it's hard to imagine when, I suppose, music in general is going to come back, isn't it? It's tough.
Really difficult, you know.
In a meaningful way, yeah. As in, like, you know, like you're starting to see a couple of bands putting little bits and pieces out. We managed to get ours out. Dead Label's release as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting it out there, and it's just difficult, you know. I mean, not everybody has a recording studio at home.
No.
Not everybody's able to do that, and even then, if you can do it, if you want to get it mixed and mastered, not everybody can do those things, and so it is very, very tricky. And in terms of getting, we all miss Fibbers. When is that going to be back to its kicking self? You know, so it's those kind of things you don't.
That's it. Like it really all comes down to numbers, and it comes down to the amount of bodies you can have in a particular venue. You know, that is deemed to be, you know, safe.
Yeah, and then is it worth the venue's time? Like,
exactly,
you know,
is it worth their time or money? depending on how much.
But then if you look at the money, like you can have a venue and you can only have 100 people in it. The tickets will cost loads because
hasn't an Iron Maiden cancelled their?
Yeah,
it's now,
yeah. The whole tour is pushed back to next year.
Tour is pushed back to 22.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What's happening left, right, and centre, though? You know.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think we'll see any kind of gigs this year. You know.
Oh no, I don't think we will. I mean, you'll see. I mean, and the only bands to be able to kind of arrange and push back are the huge ones who can actually move their tours and their festivals back. Local Joe, that's not happening for a long time.
And that's it. It's bands like ours that will still need places to stay open.
Exactly.
What do we do if we lose, say, a Fibbers or whatever? There isn't even that many left for us to play in Dublin, lads. Sure, there's not.
No. I mean, there was Fibbers, there was the Grand Social. That's all I can think of at the top of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, like that at the moment, I think that's really all that's left.
Yeah.
It's even less for us because our drum kit's so big.
Yeah, it's like some sort of a spaceship or something.
It's actually the only one of its kind in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Myself and Darren were in LA in 2010 with another previous band, you know, getting the deal sorted, which never came. And Darren was like, hey, listen, man, if I see something special here, I'm just going to get it. We're like, okay, cool. So I was across the road in the Guitar Center in, Hollywood Boulevard. You know, that one? Yeah. And there's a Sam Ash right across the street. And he rings me. And I'm like, what? He goes, come over here. So we ran over. And there it was, the Geosphere, this thing. And he was like, I'm getting it. And so, yeah, he got it. And they were like, yeah, it was made as an exhibition piece. And then the company who made it were like, we'll make it so someone can actually use it. Wow. It was first off, it was an extra piece to show off all the bits of hardware. So you couldn't fit behind it. It was just a kind of a, it was just to show you what you could do. You kind of mix and match. And then they were like, we'll actually make a version of it that you can use. And the Sam Ash got the only one, and Darren bought it. And they shipped it back to Ireland in pieces. And took us days, because it came with no instructions, and days how to put it together. But now we have it down, it kind of cracks open and comes off. And so we have it down pat now, 20 minutes and it's up.
Wow.
But man, it's heavy.
And of course, when you have something like that, that's it's a cool looking spectacle. You'd have to have it on the stage, wouldn't you?
Oh, you do.
You do. Like we did a show back in the early days, and it was supposed to be for like a filmed version of it, and it just didn't work out in the end. We did it in wasn't the Helix? It was the Axis Theatre in Ballymun.
Theatre Ballymun, yeah.
Amazing place. And so we rented it, and we invited all our family and friends. We did our first kind of show, and it was like 40 or 50 people. It was just all of our mates. And it was supposed to be filmed like a live thing. It was our full setup. Like we had all of our lights, we had everything. Like space was not an issue, and we were able to use it at its full capacity. And it was
unbelievable. It
was brilliant looking. So it was deadly. Now it was a shame the footage never actually got sorted, but I
hate when that happens.
Yeah, it was minimal cost, so we didn't mind really. Yeah. Memories are great.
Oh, absolutely, but still, it's annoying. It's like me. I don't know, Hytham, if you remember, we did when Ronnie James Dio died, we did a tribute gig concert in the Bun Factory, and what we had done was, because yourself, everyone knows that we play down in fucking drop G and B and A and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So what we did was we did half of our set as our own set, and then the other half of the set we all played in standard tuning, because so we had a changeover, first time ever that we changed over the gear and played all the Sabbath and Dio stuff in standard tuning. And there was one copy of the feckin' gig videoed, and it was lost. The only thing that's left from it is there's a video of us doing Heaven and Hell on YouTube.
The only thing left. Oh
my
God.
But it was like, I'm just gonna say, memories are great, but you want to see these things again,
Yeah, big time. on something similar, that same note, the band I was in, Breathe, with Michael and actually Andrew Chibby as well. He was playing bass. We had 8 songs, and we did them down at Sonic Studios. Jeez, this is in 96, 97 maybe. Sonic Studios. on Cable Street. We've lost that. We don't know where that is. All those 8 songs. I couldn't even remember the songs.
Jesus.
You know, they're just gone.
And that's part of your history, and it's awful when you hear stuff like that, you know.
That's it.
It's funny that the 2 bands back, I was in a kind of a rock band, not metal at all, called Play, and the guy is kind of a bit locked in what we're going to do, you know, whatever, you know, kind of bored. And one of the lads who was in the band, he actually 2 of the guys from the band, one actually has his own radio show at the moment, Gary, and Justin is an award-winning graphic designer. So Justin did a whole lot of videos for the songs on the album that has been out like 17 years. And then he put the album up on iTunes and stuff and put a new cover on it. And it was just a real nostalgia trip. You're looking back at it, you're going, oh, Jesus. Like,
never forget your past and never be ashamed of it.
But there's one of the guys we filmed, remember Apple Rock Studios?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
We filmed a video in Apple Rock Studios, and I have no memory of this being filmed. Now, that could also have to do with the fact that I drank considerably a lot when I was back then. Yeah. So that's probably why I don't remember it. But we were there, and we're filming the video, and it was in room 6, the smallest room, that smelled like a giant's pocket. It was just disgusting. And we were jammed in there, and we're filming it. We're like, we don't even know the drummer. We're going, who's your man? No memory. I remember going, do I know? Because our longtime drummer, our friend Neil, he had to move down to Cork, so that was the end of that for work. So we're like, what are we going to do? So I think is one of the guys who joined for like a day or 2. I don't know if we filmed it. But he was in, and we're going, who's your man's name? I'm trying to remember his name. I'm being offered wine. No, thanks. And we're like, oh my God, it was. I'm just looking back in it, and you see it. And the bass I was playing at the time, I remember it was an REA Pro 2 SLB. It was Cliff Burton's bass. Nice. But it was a natural wood finish, and I bought it off Mick Richards from Trackmix Studios. He had a shop on the Liffey. One of the guys worked in the shop. Actually, I couldn't remember. I can't remember the name of it now. Anyway, one of the guys worked in the shop, and he was selling it. He was selling it for £400, or it was euros.
Pounds?
No, euros. This was 2002. This was euros, yeah.
I think that was euros, yeah.
It was euros, yeah. I was living in Dunleary. It was euros, and I bought it off him, and he was crying. He was, and I bought, because he had no money, he was stuck, so I bought it, and I played it for a couple of years, and I sold it back to him for €400.
No way.
Brilliant.
I rang him up and said, do you want it back? He was like, oh my God. So I gave it to him, and he was just like, oh man, I said, much? £400. He's like, yep, that'll do. And that
was like the love of his life.
Oh, it was. Yeah. He was just like, he gave me a big hug and everything, like.
And fair play to him for selling it back for what you got it for.
That's brilliant.
I felt awful. I mean, because I moved, the band I moved into then, it was all, 5 strings and stuff, and I'd never get to play it again. So I was like, listen, this guy, why deprive him? This was his pride and joy. So I rang him up just on the off chance. He's still in the market for it. And he was like, yeah. So I gave it back. But seeing the pictures of that bass again, oh, I loved it. Like, it was great.
I was like that. I had but when I'm only kind of starting to play bass now, as I was telling you, Ivan, a while back. But I had a beautiful Ibanez Roadster from the 80s. Oh my God, it was a beautiful bass. Now, it was heavy as feck. As in weight-wise. Yeah. And I sold it to one of the lads who was in Two Tails, that he's gone now. That was Justin. And he bought it on me for a really good price. And now that I'm kind of I was always interested in bass, but now that I have more of an interest in playing it now rather than it just sitting there looking nice, I'm like, God, why the fuck did I sell it? Like,
Yeah.
It's always regret, isn't it?
All of these decisions always.
You're still insulting me for playing my 5-string, yeah?
Me? Absolutely, yeah. If you can't do it on 4 strings, don't do it at all. That's the way I look at it.
It's just 5 extra.
I just to point out, today is a good day. I got my 7-string. In from Thomond. Oh, very nice.
What did you get?
The Harry Benton.
I like the Harley Bentons, I have to say.
Harley Benton's brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good.
They have some beautiful basses, actually, as well. I was looking at one point.
No, they do, but their guitar line is just great. And for nothing. But
for the prices you're paying, they're brilliant.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just waiting to give that a go now. Yeah. It's nice, and it's very comfortable to play, and it's not too heavy.
Could you incorporate 7-string into the dystopian stuff?
Well, that's exactly what I was saying to Ivan. I thought to myself, well, look, I mean, you know, in a lot of the cases, you know, Ivan always will choose to go down to that lower note. So let's say a lower D or something like that. It'd be nice if even my guitar could do that. Not for the older songs, but for anything new that we.
As the option, I mean, yeah, I use the 5-string a lot of our songs, but use it for like low D, low B, especially when the guys are playing nice shimmering acoustics.
Yeah.
It's just nice to kind of like, I'm never sitting there chugging open B, like,
Yeah.
Never doing that. Like, it's
Always
just nice
have the
to
E in mind, you know.
Yeah, it's always just nice to have that, to have the option. Have the option.
Of course. Yeah, I know.
So,
on the side, I do know that. It's always nice to like.
I should have told you the 6-string fretless. You were like, ah!
Yeah. No, do you know what does annoy me though, lads? And you do see these lads with fucking 8-string basses and all this. Like, there's more and more and more. Like, can you play those? That's the thing. Can you actually play them?
I find that very hard to fathom, really.
Yeah.
Why you would actually need a bass that low, you know? I can understand an 8-string guitar, but even at that, you know.
Well, see, an 8-string bass is usually actually high.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of low and high, and most of it.
But that's the same. Yeah, it's the same with the 8-string guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll find a lot of these lads that are playing 8, 9, 10-string basses. It's just that gent stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not even proper. Really, it's just not. And when I say noise, I don't mean like in a sense. It's just, I don't know. It's just useless. So it's like they're not getting the full use of all those strings.
Yeah,
that's the old.
They're focusing too much on a specific point.
No,
there are bands that do that well, though. They actually use it to its full effect.
Absolutely. I mean, even like Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That's a 12-string bass.
Yeah.
The intro is a 12-string bass. The whole thing's played a 12-string bass.
Wow.
It's just that kind of almost harp-like.
Yeah.
Kind of effect. You can get it with certain pedals. I mean, Electro Harmonics do a thing called the POG, which is a polyphonic octave generator, and that does the 12-string effect. If you're one octave, one low, and one above, and it kind of gives that kind of 12-stringy kind of vibe. But like Hytham's got his 7-string to try, and I've used this lockdown to kind of redo my whole sound. I've been using a set of pedals for the last 10 years that I've like, right, they're gone, move on to something different. So I've been building them up slowly, and I've got some new toys. I just can't wait to hear how loud they sound.
Brilliant. So, now that we can kind of all kind of see each other, he's gonna try and start getting those songs done.
Yeah,
that's the plan. I mean, we just texting there this evening. One of the lads is in a high risk group, so we got to be careful. We can get in and be around each other. So he gave me all clear today. He's like, yeah, I can go. So
excellent.
The travel, we can all travel within county now.
So that's fantastic. So
and our studio is nice and big, so like we're fortunate that way we can all be far away from each other in the same kind of space. So we're looking at getting back to the room again and start hashing those out. We haven't played together in months.
November.
Was that when when was the remember the lockdown was stopped for a week or two?
Yeah, it was November, early November, late October, early November was the last time we were on the room together.
We had the last. Exactly. No, it shaved my head at that stage, isn't it?
It's been years since you've had hair, dude.
Oh, tell me about it.
By choice.
By choice, exactly. Yes. So, Carl, here's a question for you. What was the last gig that you saw?
Jesus, I can't even remember, actually. And I know that just sounds like a lazy answer, but I can't. It would have probably one of the ones I played, maybe.
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I know what it was. Sorry. I think it was Ghost in the 3 Arena, I think.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been going to it because, like, Jake's only 3, so I wouldn't have been going to an awful lot of gigs at the time.
Yeah.
But that was a fantastic gig, and Kerry was at that gig with us as well, like, you know. So, yeah, she's seen Slayer 3 times, you know. So,
Archie, get him in, man.
Absolutely, but Arlene was pregnant with her when we went to see Slayer in the Point, and 2 days later she dropped. You know,
That'll do it.
yeah, absolutely.
What was the last gig you saw, Hytham?
The last gig I saw was Devin Townsend.
Was that in Vicar Street? Was it
in the Academy? That was brilliant. And then the very next day, we were playing our gig. I was in Fibbers, so that was the last. The last gig essentially was one that I played. Really,
one that you played, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was Testament in the stadium.
Testament.
I was raging I couldn't go to that.
You're just down the road from that.
I literally over the bridge, yeah.
It was just perfection. Like it was amazing. I literally, and what a way to end it. And then the whole tour ended up getting COVID in Italy. Then like a while later, they're all back in the States when we all had it. But it was just phenomenal. Meaning, Ingrid, my wife, were there, and with amazing. We got seats. We thought were seats, but weren't. They were right on the floor, except they were just one up.
Oh, brilliant!
You had a chair in front of you. You're like this much off the floor, so you could just see over everyone's head. And we're like right away from the crowd. It was brilliant. Just phenomenal.
Brilliant.
They're an amazing band live, aren't they? Testament. I saw them in Vicar Street with Vader, I think it was. Oh, savage.
You want to see them in a small, medium-sized venue. That's what you really want.
Yeah.
It was the medium-sized venue, and it was the sheer volume and the crystal clear clarity of it. Like there was no
the sound was amazing.
No white noise. No, like they were really heavy, really loud, but crystal clear. Like it was amazing. Like I have some videos on my phone, and I just got my brand new phone at the time, and I was like, "Look at the video of this thing." It was
like whenever I seen Testament, they've always been supporting somebody bigger, and they've always got the bad end of the stick when it comes to sound.
Always get shafted that way.
Yeah, big time.
And it's weird because the first time I saw them was 2017. And I'd wanted to see them for years, and 3 times I went.
That's in the O2, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was in Vicar Street.
The one I went to, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened was we were on our wedding anniversary to see Metallica in Vienna, and then we flew home the next day to see Testament. And Ingrid wasn't well, and I was like, I'm not going to go. She said, no, you have to go. This is to be the 4th time you've a ticket and not gone to see them, because something always came up, and I wasn't able to go. It's like I was like, oh Jesus. So she's like, you have to go. So I went along, and it was
that gig was amazing, wasn't it?
It was just incredible. And what was, we got there late, and me and Darren from the band and my buddy Ferg, we got there late, and so we had a couple of drinks, and we're trying to worm our way in. And in Vicar Street, you got the kind of entrance way, and there's a kind of load of like seats just this way.
On the left.
Yeah.
So we just hopped the barrier to the seats and stood up, and we were just right over everybody, and no one cared then because the gig was full. We had drinks in front of us, and we could just see right across the crowd.
That's the thing, right?
Brilliant.
That's the thing about it now. It's like no longer do you care about being up the front. When you get to a certain age, it's like, I just want to be able to see everything.
Yeah,
I want to be able to have a drink, comfortable, and see it. Like I'll never forget. Like the best show I've ever seen. I have to say this hands down. Nothing's come close. Is Rammstein in Free Arena.
It was amazing.
At the balcony, right at the front, just you could see everything.
That was one of my favourite gigs I've ever been to, I have to say.
Unbelievable.
Because they're one of Ireland's favourite bands. And I wasn't overly mad into them. But of course, one of our favourite bands are coming. Of course, I'm going to bring her to see them,
You have to go.
And we had a fantastic night. And that's what you want from a gig. You want a fantastic night.
Yeah.
So we definitely go and see them again if they come over.
Big time. There's another band that's had to cancel twice now.
That's correct,
Yeah.
Sure.
Ozzy is not coming back, lads.
No.
It was, someone was saying that to me last night, actually, that he still has the ticket. And I was like, why didn't you just get a refund?
Yeah.
He's not able to perform anymore.
No.
And
he's too far gone, really.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's his choice or if it's his manager's choice, whether she keeps making him do tours for money or whatever, but it's not like they're short of a few quid,
Exactly.
Holding out hope to see him again on his own.
I saw him in the Point, would it have been the Tree Arena?
The Point with the Black Rain?
Yeah.
Point, that was...
With Black Label Society, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an amazing
gig. It was brilliant.
And it was a real fans gig. He played nothing but album tracks. It was so good. It was really, really, really good.
I said the only time I ever got a ticket to go and see him was remember Punchestown, the Ozfest.
I do. What a
Where he never
gig!
turned up.
I know, but it's
We were drinking that day, and I was only going down to see him. I didn't really care about anybody else. And we were drinking in the pub that day, and our mates went down and said, "Ozzy's cancelled." We were like, "Fucking deadly!" Just sat in the pub, didn't bother.
Oh no, it was. I mean, I obviously was there to see Slayer and like System of a Down and a few others, right? But when I heard fucking like, I used to like Tool, right? Until they start with that. What was that one? That Lateralus and all that kind of stuff. All up from all that kind of stuff on, I was like, oh my god, it's snooze fest. That's just my opinion now. I know you probably love them, and that's fine.
It's gas. That's when I started to really like them.
I knew it.
I love Enema and I love Lateralus, but anything after that, like 10,000 Days, for example, it never grew on me.
It ages you 10,000 days, doesn't it?
Well, but that's the thing. I never just one or two.
I'm not listening to this. I'm not listening to this anymore.
I love Undertow. Undertow is a savage.
Yes.
That was the first one I got by them, and so.
But I've seen them in. I saw them in. Was it the SFX they played? I think it was
that one.
Yeah,
SFX,
and that was actually a deadly gig.
That was fantastic. Yeah.
But when I saw them at Punchestown, I was falling asleep. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd lend themselves to a festival. They're you go to see them on their own. You know.
Yeah.
Like you say, in the SFX, it was just them, I think, wasn't it? Hytham?
That was the last gig I saw in the SFX as well.
And they were, Maynard was just in all, like he was in denim jeans and a denim tight shirt. There was no mad theatrics. It was cool.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But there was some great gigs in that venue, wasn't there, the SFX?
I remember the first gig I ever saw there was Extreme.
Wow.
In 1990, I'm going to say 2.
Yeah.
And who was the band that was supporting? A band called Gruntruck.
Gruntruck.
Yeah.
They supported Pantera as well.
They supported Pantera too. Yeah. Was that the
Vulgar tour?
Vulgar.
Yeah. That was my second gig.
I think that was my second gig as well, actually, to be honest.
Well,
I saw Sepultura there for the KSAD tour.
Sure, I was there with you.
Yep. I was 15, and I remember headbanging so hard and get up for school the next day. I couldn't lift my head. Mum was like, "Go to school." I was like, there was guys in there in the toilets, and so I was really good at rolling cigarettes, even though I don't smoke. I was really good at it. So I was in the toilet and I was charging people £1 to roll the joints with them really fast. So they just hand them on the toilet and I was sitting there. I think I made like 50 quid. It was great.
That's enterprising for you, you know.
Oh yeah.
Who what other bands are you listening to at the minute, by the way? What's tickling your fancy? Anything different or new or?
New, not a lot. I'm kind of. I'm not going to hate it, but actually listen to Tool's new album. So yeah, listen to that. But see, I also love Dave Matthews Band and Steve Wilson.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to lots of Steve Wilson and Dave Matthews lately.
I've been listening to like I've got when it comes to metal, a fairly kind of eclectic kind of taste. So I've been listening from everything to kind of, Within Temptation, Fleur Jansen, Evergrey. Evergrey's new stuff is fantastic. It's just his voice is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the gig for a Eurovision entry.
Yeah, what? Well, they played a fantastic. They played a fantastic gig in the Voodoo Lounge there back a year and a half ago. That was absolutely fantastic. And I'm also listening to this band from, I'm gonna say they're from Denmark, called Beast, BAEST.
Oh, you know them, yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, what the riffs. Now, you wouldn't be a big fan because of the low growls.
Yeah.
It's that old school kind of obituary,
Nice.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think anything really that sort of piques me interest is something that's different. Doesn't necessarily have to be new, but repackaged in a new way is good. Like,
yeah.
I didn't think I'd be into it, but I mean, I've been watching all their videos and listening to their stuff on Spotify. I just think it's fantastic.
I'm after rediscovering a bit of death metal again. I was never a huge death metal fan.
Yeah.
But I'm back listening to this like death metal that I would have never listened to, or even, believe it or not, certain aspects of black metal I've only really getting into now. Which is for me is mental.
That's something I could never get my head around it, and not so much the voice, because I mean Chuck in the last album, Sound of Perseverance, that Death album, that's a fantastic album. He kind of takes on that kind of black metal high pitch, kind of screech, and it works. But for me, most black metal, the production is too. I don't want to use the word offensive, but it's too grating.
Yeah,
that's the style, though.
That's what they like. That's what they like.
Yeah,
I have to do. I am a fan of the face paint, the walking through the forests.
That should be a photo shoot for you lads.
You can thank Kiss for that.
That kind of does it for me.
Do you like Kiss, lads?
No,
they do. I'll be honest. They have some fantastic numbers. They have fantastic songs.
Yeah,
they really do.
One of my all-time favorite songs is by Kiss.
Which one?
Which one?
Loud.
Yeah.
Shout it loud, is it?
I think that might be called that. It's called
Shout it.
No.
Oh, loud. Yeah.
Loud.
But look, we can't forget Manowar.
Listen, I will have nothing. I will have not a bad word said against the men in loincloths.
Well, thankfully, apart from Carl Logan,
apart
from the kiddie fiddler who's been arrested.
Oh dear.
The rest of them, like Joey DeMeo. I mean, it's so insane. It's great.
Yeah.
I just watched a documentary on them actually there.
Oh.
Very interesting. It's just up on YouTube.
Oh, right.
His voice, Eric Adams' voice, is just so
shocking.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's humans can't do that. It's just amazing.
Him doing Nessun Dorma was fantastic.
Oh, unbelievable.
It was a nice surprise. Oh yeah, I'd be interested to hear that now. Absolutely.
That's next on my list.
Awesome. So, gentlemen, I think I've kept you for long enough.
Absolutely, this was great.
I could do this all night, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
So we could.
Put it off for so long, and we're so glad because we'd nothing to talk about. We'd nothing new. Like,
well, it proves we could talk about stuff, because we talked about your EP for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
that is true.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's always great to see. It's always great to see your friends, and it's great to be talking about, again, new music. It's new music to all of us, and it's fun. It sounds great. And
thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Oh, before we go, lyrics. Who's the chief lyricist in the band? Right. Is there any particular? Because I haven't divulged into it properly yet, and as a lyricist, I always ask the lyricist, "What's going on with the lyrics in this?" You don't have to tell me exactly every story, but what way do you write, basically?
Well, of the last couple of times, we'll write a track, and the guys will name it. I have to kind of put something that goes to the name. But no, listen, whatever pops to mind, whatever's in my mind at the time. The Great Filter was a great idea Hytham gave about reaching past your solar system and what would happen if you did, or what's the consequences of that. So the Great Filter is incorporated into that. The Iron Way, which is the first track, is about anxiety. So it's just struggles with anxiety, who does what and whatever, and that's kind of what that's about. Dystopian was actually the original song. We couldn't remember the vocal melody for the chorus because it was quite intricate. So I said, listen, I'll throw some lyrics around it and we remember it that way. So I wrote some lyrics about it. And then I remembered a video game years and years ago my friend's brother helped design called Beneath the Steel Sky. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just took elements of what I remember from that kind of dystopian imagery of living in a very oppressive kind of vibe and made it about that and dreams of better worlds. And then Decline Reprise, which is the fourth track, is the third song in a 3-song cycle from our second release. And that was the first time I've ever sat down to write a complete story. where I actually went, this has got a start, a middle, and an end. Because it was a 20-minute song, and I wanted it to be about the downfall of somebody, and that's just what it was about. So this, the first song or song cycle is about their rise. The second part is about how they, you know, plateau out, and then the third part is how it all comes apart on them. And that can be anybody. That can be anybody's day. It can be a politician. It can be anybody.
Yeah.
It's how things build you up. You get used to it, and it just comes down.
It could be a nation, you know.
Exactly. It could be a nation. Yeah.
It could be anything. Yeah, it's all about that. So, so although the third song makes the lyrics may not sound as if they're connected because there's a whole, you know, 19 minutes missing off the rest of them. But the catchy bits are there.
That's all you want. That's all you want. Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks for, as I say, I always ask that of lyricists, you know, it's always interesting to hear stories, you know.
Well, the guys slag me because they say I have to give them a, you know, a dictionary to go with it.
That's okay.
It's always fun to throw a word in that's never going to rhyme. Just throw it in there. See now, if you can fit it in.
If you did that on me now, if you were writing lyrics for me and you did that, something that doesn't rhyme, I'd actually lose the plot, like, because I'm very simplistic in my approach, you know.
You gotta figure out how to get it in there, you know.
Well, I'll leave that for you. That's okay.
Yeah, true.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you, man. It was brilliant and long overdue, and thank you so much for having us. And
we will do something else like this again in the future, and I will talk to you about that off screen.
Excellent.
All right, so gentlemen, by the way, can we get physical copies of the EP, or is it just digital only?
It's
digital
just
at the moment.
Digital at the moment.
Okay.
We've gone all digital for the last while.
Right. And it's all available on Bandcamp and all, is it?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp, Spotify, Amazon Music, Reverb Nation, iTunes as well. iTunes, yeah, it's across. It replicated all platforms there a couple of days ago. I just haven't updated the list yet, but yeah, pretty much every digital platform, it's out there.
Cool. Well, sure, we'll have links up on the video after when this is all done. So if anyone wants to, you know, support the band,
be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's loads of videos up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, gentlemen, we are going to get the hell out of here, and we will see you soon. And so Kingwoes Court is out of here.
Cheers.